Hey, how's it going? Recently, I began to clean up my studio, and in that process of reorganizing, I needed a guitar rack. I chose the Rok-It 7 space folding guitar rack. And the primary reason I chose this one is because the place where I wanted to put it is pretty narrow. I believe that it was only 2 inches wider than the rack itself. So that was the primary reason. The second was the cost. There were other racks that would fit there, mostly 5 spaces, but they were hundreds of dollars more. So I didn't really want to spend that, at least not right now. And I don't have any plans of really getting more guitars. At the time, I only had 4. Now I have 5, so you never know. But a few things I wanted to talk about, and I'll try to do this as quickly as possible, is the negative reviews on Sweetwater. I think 48% of them were 3 stars or less. So I'll address, some of the concerns that those people had and the things that they didn't like about it. And then I'll talk about my experience at the same time. So let's start with some of those comments. 1 star, horrible. Do not purchase if you own real guitars. This is perfect for a Target or Walmart guitars. If you own Fender, blah, blah, blah. They bang into each other. It's embarrassing that this is even sold. 1.5 stars, weak and wobbly. Do not trust expensive guitars. Spend the extra money. 2.5 stars. Like others, I found the Rok-It 7 space rack to be too narrow between posts. My Strats and Floyd Rose equipped guitars do not have enough room between them without having to very carefully place the guitars in the rack. That's a good point. We'll talk about that in a minute. The assembly instructions are near worthless. You're going to have to decipher the instructions and use a best guess to assemble this rack. We will talk about that for sure. 3 stars. The rubber pieces up top that support the neck constantly fall off during transport. Better way of securing them. Decent product for the money, was easy to assemble. The one I received is quite solid, not wobbly. Rubber padding spacers, again, slightly loose. However, a small spot of glue remedies that perfectly. Does not accommodate 7 acoustic guitars as advertised, no matter how diligently I try to organize them. That is true. 5 acoustic guitars, max. I'm impressed that he could get 5. I didn't think you could get more than 4. These are the instructions that it comes with. They do not have anything written down, but I feel like it's pretty straightforward. You have 3 different types of screws. One, the inside and the outside. And to deduce them, this has a square hole at the top. At the base near the head of the screw is a square. There are 4 of these and only 2 of these. You have exactly enough screws and exactly enough washers, and then you just have to pay attention to which nut goes on the back of which screw. The assembly was really straightforward. I opened it up. It was pretty minimal packaging. I organized everything where it would go. I organized my hardware, and then I began to put it together. It comes with an Allen wrench, I believe. At one point, I did realize I wasn't putting the washers on, so I go back and put those on. But all in all, even with the mistake, it only took about 15 minutes to put together. I did it while killing time before work. Is the stand wobbly? Yeah, it's sort of wobbly. I'm giving it a pretty good shake here, and you can see none of my guitars are really being disturbed too much. This would never be happening. When it's floating out alone in the middle of the room, you can see the acoustic on the left bouncing a little bit more. But that is also a pretty large guitar. I don't think most guitars are as big as that one. For the rubber pads and the buttons, they do come off pretty easily. But if you were to look at how they fit on, you could easily line the inside of the cap with super glue, put it in place, and then line the inside of the rubber pad with super glue, put it in place, and that would pretty much solve the problem. A tube of super glue is like $2. Can you fit 7 guitars? I suppose it depends on the type of guitar. An acoustic guitar, absolutely not. An electric with a whammy bar, if you look here, it's pretty tight. I would imagine that you would have some issues with that as well. I can fit my 5 guitars pretty comfortably. I don't really have to worry about them banging into each other down at the body or up at the neck. I don't have to worry too much when I take them out or put them back in. I'm not being that careful, and I've never had an issue of them running into each other. So there you go. Overall, it's fine. It does exactly what it needs to do for me. I don't gig with it, so it doesn't, you know, the pads don't fall off. I haven't glued those in place. The price is great at $55. You can't really beat that. I don't have 7 guitars, so it's no big deal. Yeah, I have no complaints really. I think everybody's comments were, or reviews were valid for the most part. I think just maybe a little dramatic, a little more dramatic than, you know, reality shows, or maybe they got a bad print, but I'm happy with mine. Anyway, thank you for watching. If it was helpful, leave a like. If you have any other questions that I didn't cover, leave a comment, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks.